Time is running out, Commander Nation. Do you know what's coming in 72 hours? First, our secret weapon that turned NY into a punching bag. But Green Bay has already figured out his moves. Will this gem survive when Hafley puts 2 safeties in his face? Second, the rookie who broke PFF with 4.4 yards per carry. Will he collapse against the defense that crushed Gibbs, or is he the steal of the draft? And third, the diabolical plan to break down Daniels' brutal blitzes, plus crowd noise you can't imagine. Will we have answers, or will it be a slaughter in prime time? Dan Quinn didn't hold back at all when talking about the impact of Deebo Samuel on our offense, and after what we saw in week 1 against the Giants, I totally get why this coach is so hyped. Samuel not only led the team with 10 targets, but he showed off that unique versatility that makes opposing defenses have real nightmares trying to prep for what Washington can do offensively. I believe the defining moment was that 19-yard rushing touchdown Samuel scored in the first quarter. It was his first rushing touchdown since week 1 of last season, but the natural and explosive way he found the end zone tells me we're just seeing the beginning of what this player can do in Burgundy and Gold. Quinn specifically mentioned that he had touches on kickoff return and runs and passes. And I'm telling you this, when you have a player who can be lethal from any position on the field, you're creating multiple problems that are impossible for defenses to solve. The chemistry that Samuel has already developed with Jaden Daniels is simply impressive. Although Quinn admitted they missed a connection on a deep route, he also pointed out that those deep plays are exactly where Samuel is awesome. I'm telling you, when those connections start hitting consistently, this offense will be completely unstoppable. We're talking about a receiver who can run any route of the tree, but also has the speed and skills to turn short plays into long touchdowns. What fascinates me the most is how Samuel is filling the void left by Terry McLaurin temporarily. McLaurin looked a bit rusty after the whole contract situation, which was completely expected, but Samuel seized that opportunity and became the team's leading receiver from the first snap. I believe this healthy competition among our main receivers is only going to raise the level of the entire offensive unit to heights we've never seen in Washington. Quinn also praised the offensive line, specifically mentioning Laramie Tunsil as a bodyguard and highlighting the work of Tyler Biadasz. When the coach says that's the type of thing that can make difficult to defend because defending the wide parts of the field as well as down the field shots, he's describing exactly the nightmare Samuel can create for defenses. We're talking about a player who forces defenses to prepare for lateral and vertical attacks simultaneously. Samuel's versatility on kick returns adds another completely different dimension. I'm telling you this, when your star receiver can also be dangerous on special teams, you're creating field advantages that can completely change the momentum of a game. The Giants had to dedicate extra resources to cover Samuel in multiple facets, and that opened opportunities for other players. Now, let's talk about what this means for the immediate future. On Thursday, we face Green Bay, a defense that just completely dominated Detroit. Jeff Hafley is going to study exactly how Samuel destroyed the Giants, and they're going to have a specific plan to neutralize him. But I believe that's where Samuel's versatility becomes even more valuable. It's very difficult to prepare a defensive game plan when you don't know if Samuel will be lined up as a receiver, runner, or returner on any given play. Cliff Kingsbury is using Samuel exactly as San Francisco did in his best moments. The difference is that now Samuel has Jaden Daniels as quarterback, a mobile player who can create plays when the pocket collapses. I think this combination can be even more explosive than what we saw with the Niners because Daniels adds that rushing dimension that prevents defenses from fully committing an extra safety to cover Samuel. The reality is that Samuel is fundamentally transforming our offensive identity. We're no longer a team that solely depends on Terry McLaurin to make plays. Now we have multiple threats that can exploit any defensive weakness, and Samuel is functioning as the perfect catalyst to unleash all the other players. I ask you this, when was the last time the Commanders had an offensive weapon this complete and versatile? Samuel is showing he can be that game-changing piece that took us years to find, and we are just seeing the first chapter of what he can achieve in this offense designed specifically to maximize his unique skills. I know many of you didn't expect the 7th round pick to become one of the most important stories of week 1, But what Jackery Krosky Merritt did against the Giants was simply historic and deserves our full attention. Pro Football Focus gave him the highest rushing grade of all running backs in Week 1 across the NFL. And we're talking about a rookie that most teams didn't even have on their radar during the draft. The stats speak for themselves. 83.9 rush grade and 79.3 overall. Those numbers aren't a fluke, and I'm telling you, Adam Peters struck pure gold in the late rounds of the draft. 82 yards on 10 carries with a long run of 42 yards sounds impressive, but what really grabs my attention is that even without that explosive run, Krosky Merritt ran 40 yards in 9 attempts. That's 4.4 yards per carry without counting his big play. And that tells me we're seeing real consistency, not just a lucky play. What fascinates me the most is the confidence Dan Quinn showed in him early in the second quarter. While everyone expected Austin Eckler and Jeremy McNichols to carry the load, it was Krosky Merritt who didn't look back after his first touch. I believe that confidence from the coaching staff speaks volumes about what they saw throughout training, camp, and preseason games. Quinn isn't a coach who takes unnecessary risks with rookies, so when he gives significant touches to a 7th rounder in Week 1, it's because he genuinely believes he can contribute. The 42-yard run was a thing of beauty. I reviewed the play multiple times, and what impresses me isn't just the speed, but the vision Krosky Merritt showed to find the right hole and the patience to let his blockers do their work. Those are qualities you can't teach, and the fact that a rookie shows them in his regular season debut tells me we're seeing genuine talent, not just raw athleticism. Quinn specifically mentioned the work of the offensive line on that play, highlighting Laramie Tunsil and Tyler Biadasz. But I'm telling you this, the offensive line can create holes, but the runner has to have the vision to see them and the explosiveness to capitalize on them. Krosky Merritt repeatedly demonstrated both qualities during the game against the Giants. What also catches my attention is how Krosky Merritt perfectly complements Jaden Daniels' style of play. While Daniels can create plays with his mobility when the pocket collapses, Krosky Merritt provides that consistency in the running game that allows Kingsbury to establish play action and keep defenses honest. It's exactly the kind of balance we needed to make this offense work in the long term. But now comes the hard part. And I have to be honest with you, the Packers just demonstrated against Detroit why their defense is considered one of the best in the league. They limited the Lions to just 46 rushing yards on 22 carries. And we're talking about a Detroit offense that has one of the most explosive running games in the NFL. Jahmyr Gibbs, who is universally recognized as one of the most dynamic and talented runners in the league, only managed 19 yards on 9 attempts. Jeff Hafley has that Green Bay defense functioning like a well-oiled machine. Micah Parsons and the Packers' defensive line created constant disruption, and I believe they will present completely different challenges than what Krosky Merritt faced against the Giants. New York has a solid defense, but Green Bay has the ability to physically dominate the line of scrimmage in a way that few teams can match. Now I ask you this, can Krosky Merritt maintain this elite level against a defense that just completely neutralized one of the best running games in the league? Thursday night, we'll find out if this rookie has the mentality and technical skills to face playoff caliber defenses, or if Week 1 was simply a result of the surprise factor and favorable matchup. Cliff Kingsbury will have to be creative in his game planning. The Packers are going to study exactly how Krosky Merritt succeeded against the Giants and will adjust their defensive strategy accordingly. I believe we'll see if Kingsbury can find ways to create running lanes using Daniels' mobility and Samuel's versatility to open spaces for Krosky Merritt. The reality is we don't know if the Commanders will immediately turn Krosky Merritt into the lead back, but he definitely earned more touches and more responsibilities in the offense. His performance against the Giants was a clear statement, but now he needs to prove he can be consistent against different types of defenses and in different game situations. I'm telling you this, if Krosky Merritt can have a solid performance against the Packers, then we're witnessing the birth of something really special. But if Green Bay completely neutralizes him, we'll know he still needs more development and experience before becoming that reliable piece we all hope he will be in the long term. This tactical information provided by Josh Taylor, the Commanders beat writer, is absolutely crucial to understand what we're going to face this Thursday night at Lambeau Field. The Packers not only boast one of the most talented defenses in the NFL, but Jeff Hafley has shown he can create specific game plans that exploit young quarterbacks' weaknesses. And Jayden Daniels is going to be his next target. First, we have to understand the context of what Green Bay just did against Detroit. The Lions were coming in with one of the league's most explosive offenses, and the Packers shut them down completely. Now they're going to have 4 full days to study exactly how to attack Daniels and our new offense, and I'm telling you, Hafley is not going to waste that opportunity. Taylor points out something absolutely crucial. Daniels had significant problems against the Giants blitz. He completed just 3 of 9 passes for 29 yards when New York sent extra pressure and posted a passer rating of barely 43.3 against the blitz. Those numbers are concerning, especially when we consider that Micah, Parsons, and Rashan Gary will be licking their chops after reading those stats. I think the issue isn't necessarily that Daniels can't handle pressure, but that our offensive line is still developing chemistry and timing for hot routes and protections against complex blitzes. The Giants sent different defensive looks that Daniels probably hadn't seen in real game situations. And that showed in his timing and decision making. But this is where the situation gets really interesting. Hafley has a collection of pass rushers who can create pressure in multiple ways. Parsons can come from any position and at any time, while Gary provides that edge consistency that can collapse the pocket from the blind side. When you combine that with Hafley's ability to design creative blitzes, we're talking about a perfect recipe to exploit the weaknesses Daniels showed against New York. Taylor also mentions that this should improve as the offense settles more, but suggests that Thursday might be too soon for that to happen. I agree with that assessment. 4 days aren't enough to fix fundamental protection and timing issues, especially when you're facing a defense that just dominated a team with much more offensive experience than us. What concerns me the most is how the Packers will use their secondary to disguise coverage and create pre-snap confusion. Daniels is still learning to read complex NFL defenses, and when Hafley starts showing different looks and then rotates to completely different coverages post-snap, we could see more of those indecisive moments that cost us against the Giants. Now, let's talk about the weapons we have available beyond Terry McLaurin. Taylor confirms that McLaurin looked rusty in week 1, which was completely expected after all the contract drama. But he also points out that Deebo Samuel has emerged as Daniels' primary target, and that connection will be crucial to neutralizing the pressure Green Bay is going to send. Zach Ertz remains the safety blanket Daniels needs, especially in third down and red zone situations. I think Kingsbury is going to have to use Ertz extensively on routes over the middle to give Daniels quick options when he feels pressure. Tight ends have historically been effective against Hafley's blitzes because they can find soft spots in zone coverage. The real question is if Noah Brown, Jalen Lane, and Luke McCaffrey will be ready to contribute when the Packers inevitably dedicate extra attention to Samuel and McLaurin. These players are going to have to step up in crucial moments, and I'm not sure if they are fully prepared for that level of responsibility in an atmosphere as hostile as Lambeau Field on Thursday Night Football. Taylor mentions that the running game looks more explosive this season, and I believe that's going to be our best weapon against Green Bay's pressure. When Krosky Merritt is running effectively, it keeps the linebackers honest and prevents Hafley from blitzing constantly without consequences. But as we discussed earlier, the Packers just completely neutralized Detroit's running game, so that strategy also carries its risks. The factor that nobody is discussing enough is the environment. Lambeau Field on Thursday Night Football is one of the most intimidating experiences in all of football, and Daniels has never played in anything like it. I think the crowd noise and the atmosphere are going to add another layer of difficulty that could exacerbate the problems he already showed. Against the blitz, Hafley will have multiple game plans prepared. If the blitz works early, he will continue applying pressure. But if Daniels starts finding rhythm against the blitz, Hafley may adjust to more zone coverage and force Daniels to make precise throws in tighter windows. That adaptability is what makes this Green Bay defense so dangerous. I'm telling you this. Thursday night will be the biggest test Jayden Daniels has faced in his professional career so far. He will not only face a talented defense, but in a hostile environment with limited preparation. If he can overcome these challenges, then we will know we have something really special. But if the Packers exploit those weaknesses he showed against the blitz, we could be looking at a long night for our offense. Look, after diving deep into these three news pieces, I think we're at a defining moment for the season. Deebo Samuel is showing he can be that transformative piece that completely changes our offensive identity. Krosky Merritt is giving us hope that we can find gems in unexpected places. But we also have to be realistic about the massive challenges that await us against teams like Green Bay. The reality is that Thursday night is going to be a reality check. If we can maintain Samuel's versatility, if Krosky Merritt can produce against an elite defense, and if Daniels can overcome his struggles against the blitz, then we will be seeing confirmation that this team can really compete in the NFC. But if the Packers exploit our weaknesses, we will know exactly where we need to improve. But now, I ask you the most important question. Do you really believe Samuel could maintain this level of production all season? Can Krosky Merritt handle the pressure of Thursday night football? And is Daniels ready to face the league's most sophisticated defenses? This is exactly the conversation we need to have as a Commanders community. I need you to tell me in the comments which of these three situations concerns you the most for the team's future. If you believe we can overcome these challenges, this channel is growing because fans like you are finding the detailed analysis you deserve. Subscribe now because we're going to be covering every single play, every adjustment, every decision of this potentially historic season. This community is becoming a family of true Washington fans, and we need you to be a part of it to continue growing. And remember, hail to the Redskins.